Hey everyone, you're listening to Party Time, My Golf Story with Kevin Walsh and whatever special guest he has today. You can check me out on episode 9 of the podcast. Today I'm wearing Grayson clothes while I'm out practicing because I believe in look good, play good. And follow me on Instagram, Sophia Warren Golf, and hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
It's Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers. And the golf real estate pros Gene Walsh and Vince Visicaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoastdreams.com. Now here's your host, Kevin Walsh.
Hey everybody, welcome to the program. Vicki Goetz Ackerman, the player president of the LPGA, is our guest today. Vicki has had a storied career as a junior golfer, as an amateur golfer, 15-year veteran of the LPGA Tour. She has been around for a long time, played some great golf, and she's also married to one of my caddy buddies. And so that was the connection, putting it all together. But I feel like I've known her forever because I've followed her success. And with competitive golf, you kind of feel like at some point, you know people and you're going to bump into them, and here we are. Vicki Goetz Ackerman is our guest here on Party Time, My Golf Story. Hey, before we go any further, if you don't mind, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, would you do so? Because that matters to the nerds at YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all those algorithms. We got to beat them, or we got to figure out a way to get on board with them. And the best way you can do that is to subscribe and leave a 5-star review. Big thanks to our title sponsors, Party Drinks. If you are looking for a drink alternative on the golf course and you're tired of beer or hard seltzers that you're trying to convince yourself taste good, even though they don't, kind of like yogurt, try a Party. You'll be very glad that you did. And if you don't have Party where you play golf, get in touch with the golf staff or the beverage staff and tell them Paradise Craft Distributors, the exclusive distributors of Party in Florida, is a phone call they need to make so you can start drinking some of the good stuff. If golf real estate is in your future, nobody better than the golf real estate pros at suncoastdreams.com, a division of fine properties. Vince Visicaro, Gene Walsh, and Samantha Walsh got you covered. It's a great time to buy, folks. It is a buyer's market, and there's inventory at Lakewood National Golf Club, where this podcast originates from, and Calusa Country Club right across the street, getting bigger and bigger and better and better. And if all that golf has got you tired and you need to recharge, no better place than BioLit Spa in downtown Sarasota to get you taken care of. All right, let's bring Vicki on board. So I'm looking, but first of all, it's great to have you on the program. I see a Florida Gator on the wall. I see the Georgia Bulldogs on the wall. What's going on? Is this the mom cave, the man cave? Help me out.
Well, listen, this was our son's kind of game room, and I kept trying to make sure that he wasn't completely swayed towards the Gators, which is Jim's side of the family. And so we kind of have half and half. So whether there's a Florida thing, there's a Georgia thing, but saying that my son is definitely a Florida Gator. I keep saying he's going to see the light here at any point and come to the Bulldog side, but I haven't quite gotten him there yet.
Well, if he needs help going over there, not that I'm going to play an active role, or maybe I will if you need help. We have some Georgia Bulldogs in my neighborhood. They're not as numerous as Ohio State Buckeyes, folks,
Yes.
but they're in my neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So if you need help,
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
And you mentioned Jim. That's your husband, Jim Ackerman. I'll get to him in just a minute. But where's home for you now? Where are you joining us from?
We live in Riverview, Florida.
Mm-hmm. Take me back to where it all started, though. Originally from the north?
Originally, I was born in Wisconsin. We moved to Georgia when I was 9 years old. My dad was a huge golfer. He picked it up late in life, actually, after college, but loved playing the games, couldn't stand the winters. So it seemed like we moved overnight, but we moved to Georgia, and I've been in the South for a long time now. When I turned pro, I moved to Florida. It was supposed to be a temporary move to kind of grow up. I felt like I was doing kind of a adult decision by leaving college early. And then I met Jim and I got married. So I stayed in Florida. But love the Southeast, love warm weather. So don't see myself going up north anytime soon, especially this time of the year.
Yeah, that's like a bridge you can't turn back on. Like once you go over it, you're here for good. But tell me about Georgia. Where exactly were you primarily raised, and what was life like back then?
We lived all around Athens. I mean, pretty much every direction, east, west, north, south. And they just moved where they found jobs. Both my parents were in education, and so they had the summers off. And we played golf together as a family. And as time went on, my mom actually was getting one of her numerous degrees. She got a lot of degrees and ended up having a doctorate. But because of that, we had the ability to join the University of Georgia golf course because she was a student there. So that's how my love for the University of Georgia came about, and how I got to see the players for UGA practicing all the time, and really was instrumental, I believe, in developing my game and having me wanting to pursue something else in life.
So it was a family affair. When did you actually start playing?
We had my first tournament when I was 5 years old. I know that it was not because of me. I have an older brother that's he was 2.5 years older and quite good at the game, quite cerebral at a young age, whereas I just kind of did it because everybody else did it. And we went to this golf tournament called the Little People's Championship in Quincy, Illinois, which I would say still exists. I actually went to their 50th reunion or anniversary, I should say, just a few years ago. But it's amazing. It was our first time that we took a trip and stayed in a hotel that had a pool. Things were different back then, so not like they are now. And I went and I played in the 3 to 5 year old age group, and there was only one other girl, and she was 3 and I was 5. So I had major weight height advantage on her. And I think I won by a pretty good amount, and I got this trophy. Actually, it's the only trophy I actually have up in my house. Let's see. I could just turn my.
Yeah. Let's do a little show and tell here.
It's it's over in the corner. And anyways, I have that up in the house because that's where it all began. And if it was just fun. I mean, I went there and I got to have Rice Krispie treats. I got to go swim in the pool. I got to meet new people. And my parents were like, well, listen, if you want to do this again, you just have to practice a little bit. Obviously, it's not that much practice when you're 5 and you live in Wisconsin and it snows half the year. So I figured I could do it. And that's where it all began. And I kept going.
Tell me about your brother, the relationship you had with him, and how he helped you, or was it competitive? I want to know.
You know what? We had probably typical brother-sister relationship where I probably annoyed the living daylights out of him a lot. But he was a great big brother. We practiced and did everything together. We did everything together as a family. Obviously with my parents being teachers, it wasn't something that you got babysitters all the time. When we went to the golf course, it was my dad and I against my mom and Nick. And we walked. I mean, we cross-country skied together. When we went to the gym, went to the Y together. It was kind of everything was together. I think my dad did a really good job of trying to have us work as a team versus against each other. He didn't want us to be fighting. We fought enough at home, and I could tell you some great travel stories on that. But so when we were at the golf course, everything was to achieve a goal together to get to the next step. So I'm super close with my brother now. I feel fortunate to have him in my life, and I keep talking about all these things that happened that I think were life changing. I mean, his practice regime and how, I was basically stuck at the golf course watching him practice because we came in one car. So I actually chipped and putted because I ran out of golf balls to hit on the range. So I think I was better because of him as well. So just learned a lot from him.
That's cool. When did you know you were good? I imagine it was Was it right after you beat the 3-year-old at the Little People's, or did
You
it
know
come a
what?
little later?
I didn't, I don't know. I don't know if I'm just a little weird or things are just different now, but I just played golf because I love playing. I remember when I won the U.S. Amateur when I was 16, and everyone was like, "Oh, are you going to turn pro? Are you going to do this?" I mean, I'm going to be honest. I didn't even think twice about doing that. My biggest goal at that point was trying to figure out how we were going to win the high school golf championship. And then the next thing is I really wanted to play for UGA, and nothing had really surfaced in my mind beyond that. So we didn't have all the social media. Golf was on TV, but not like it is now. So I was lucky. I mean, I feel like I lived a very normal, non-stressful life. I mean, other people may have had their dreams or thought or expectations of what I should do, but I felt like, especially during my teenage years, I mean, maybe it changed a little bit after the USAM. I just kind of did my thing and played golf, and was fortunate enough to win a lot, but I just did what I like to do. That was it.
Vicki Goetz Ackerman is our guest here on Party Time. My golf story brought to you by Party Drinks, the golf real estate pros of Gene Walsh, Vince Vizzacaro, and Samantha Walsh at suncoastdreams.com, and BioLit Spa. Let's talk about breaking barriers. Do you remember when you broke 80 for the first time?
I don't remember when I broke 80, but I do remember when I broke 40. And that was when I was in 6th grade, and I really wanted to get my ears pierced. And my dad said when I broke 40 that I could get my ears pierced. So I'm like, well, this is fantastic. I'll just keep working so I get my ears pierced. And I kept coming down that 9th hole at UGA, and for some reason I kept bogeying it. And then finally, at some point in my when I was in 6th grade, I shot 39, and I went that afternoon to get my ears pierced.
Nice. Where'd you go? The local
just to the mall,
or Claire's or something?
It might have been Claire's. I have no idea. I'm not even sure if Claire's existed back then. It's so long ago. But I got it done, and 80 I don't really remember. I mean, if I think about barriers, and again, no idea what I was doing when this happened, but like when I played, I really feel like I'm aging myself on this whole interview here. But like when I played, we didn't have girls golf in high school. And so I played on the boys team. And I remember 2 things that happened that were pretty funny. Well, I don't know if funny is the right word, but I played on a team that we had 2 girls, which was really unusual. And the Hardaway Invitational was a huge tournament in Georgia. And we played the first round, and I was in contention. And I went off early for 2 reasons. 1, we had prom, and 2, our team wasn't in contention. And I played well that last day, but every tee box was tipped out. Like you couldn't even take a practice swing behind. Because they were trying to make it as long as possible, which actually was more advantageous for me than the guys, because I already didn't reach the greens. So, they had longer clubs in, so I was getting up and down, and I fortunately I did win that event. And when I finally got the trophy, the whole team, we got a little Barbie little skirt, and we put it on the guy trophy that we got. But I will say that after my senior year and playing high school golf, Georgia now does have girls golf, which is really nice for them to have that for the young ladies to play now.
Well, tell me about the dynamic of playing with the boys, because we had a girl on my high school team, and she was fantastic. She went to Ohio State. She was the number 1 player. And then when I came on board, I became number 1, but she played number 2. I played with her. And like at the player introductions at the beginning of the match, I could just see it on the faces of the guys. Like, I'm playing against a girl. Oh my God. Because I mean, see, from their perspective, it's almost like a lose-lose situation. If they lose to a girl, their buddies are going to razz them. If they win, you know what I'm saying? What was your experience like?
Honestly, I mean, I understood that because my brother played on the same team with me, and there was one point where he won every match, but there was one match that I did win, and that was the only time I think that we made the golf team made the front page of our newspaper for high school, and I also remember he had to make a 15-footer to beat me at regionals, and as much as I did want to beat him, because that's just, brother, sister, I also wanted him to make it because I was in a no lose situation. And for him, it was going to be pretty difficult. I enjoyed playing with the guys. I grew up playing with them at UGA. I didn't really think much of it until I heard other people talk about it. But I did enjoy our team. I enjoyed everybody on our team, and by no means did I want anyone to feel uncomfortable with me playing. I just wanted to play golf. So any of the guys that it was uncomfortable, I definitely apologize for, because that wasn't really the intent. But I was really happy to be a part of a team, because that's the first team I'd ever been a part of. And obviously I got that when I went to UGA too, but it's nice being an individual sport to have that team opportunity as well.
Sure. Well, it seems like UGA, based on like all the time you spent as a child and with it being in the backyard, that was destiny, and that you would go there. Was it your senior year that you won your second U.S. Amateur, and that was against Annika Sorenstam?
No, it was after my freshman year of college.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a
All
little
right.
bit of a gap in there.
Got it. What was that like?
To beat Annika?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, at the time, Annika was just normal Annika. Like, we didn't know that she was going to be a legend. So I didn't really think much of it, because I knew her growing up. I knew her from amateur golf. I mean, I do think we had an unbelievable match, and I think that match was the catalyst to then starting to air the U.S. Women's Amateur as well on TV. We were the last match that was not aired on TV. They went to television after that, so I feel proud to be a part of that moment as well. And obviously super cool. I mean, I think the places that I won the USAM are, iconic. And then obviously to have two great players with Brandy Burton and especially Annika Sorenstam that everybody knows, to have beaten her in the finals is pretty amazing. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I enjoyed the tournaments. I enjoyed that my dad was able to be on the bag with me. My mom was there. Just some really great memories to all of it.
Did that jumpstart leaving college early and turning pro?
No, I knew when I went to college, and when I went on my recruiting visits, I actually had anticipated that I would probably leave after 2 years. And I did want to talk to the coaches prior to making any commitment, so that I didn't leave someone high and dry. So that was part of my conversations ahead of time, that my plan was to go 2 years. It didn't mean that I wouldn't stay longer, but it was definitely an intention to be there at least 2 years.
So you turned pro. Any welcome to the pros moment? I imagine you felt ready, but when you're really there, what was it like?
Well, I hated it. I'll be honest, it's a little bit different now than it used to be. In fact, it's a lot different now. It was very unwelcoming. I didn't play a practice round with anyone. I didn't have dinner with anyone. I stayed in private housing, so I had people that I socialized with that, but I wasn't really embraced by anybody on the tour. And so when I came into this position that I'm in now with player president, one of the first initiatives that I wanted to bring back was the Big Sister program, because I felt like we could do so much more for our rookies and the young people coming in. And I really didn't want anyone to have as crappy of a first year as I did. Once I came back the second year, the same people that weren't talking to me all of a sudden were, which, that's not how I am. I'm pretty much, we all put on our pants the same way, one leg at a time. And I don't care what you've won or what you've done or who you are or where you're from. I mean, we should all get along. So I really tried to make sure it was better for the future. And I really think that now we do so many more things. I know we do on the LPGA for our rookies. And I see the different relationships that people have on the tour, which is so great. So it's nice to see that the times have changed.
Any good stories with Nancy Lopez, Annika, or some of the other legends?
I think my favorite golf round ever on tour was when I had an opportunity to play with Laura Davies at the British Open. We weren't in major contention, but we were in kind of the last groups. And before there was betting here in the States, there was betting over in England. And I remember all these people betting on that match. And I kept hearing, the rumors like, oh, I got Vic or I got Laura or whatever. And but to play with Laura and for the amount of gallery and how much she was embraced by everybody, I just thought it was one of the coolest moments I had on tour. So that was super cool. My Annika story has nothing to do with golf, except that it did happen after the British Amateur. One of the girls had a rental car and it's like, yeah, we're going to go into London and go look around. And Annika was driving around and she was our chauffeur. And so here we were like the clowns piling into this little car. And I don't even know how like 7 or 8 of us got into this car. Well, if you open the door, someone's falling out. And well, I happened to be that person. And so we parked and I looked to see if anybody was coming and I didn't see anything. And I opened the door and a bus comes by. And luckily the bus was when it was, because it actually shut the door and pushed me back in versus opening the door and having me fall out. So we had the police come and everything else. And I just remember giving Annika my home phone number because, of course, we didn't have cells back then, and just said, hey, if there's any damage that you have to pay for, call my parents and we'll send you some money. That's my Annika story. So we played together numerous times, but to me, that was more like, hey, like we're both human beings. We were out having a good time. We were kids, teenagers, and here I opened a door and it hit the bus. So that was kind of that. And then Nancy, you know what? I played with her quite a few times. Just an unbelievable class act as well. Loved how she embraced all of the fans, was so gracious with them. I think I learned a lot from those people. Julie Inkster. My favorite person on tour was Joanne Carner. I'll never forget. She actually asked to play golf with me when I was an amateur. And she'd be like, hey, kid, I'm not even sure she knew my name. But she's like, hey, kid, do you want to play golf? And I'd go play. And I remember at Jamie Farr, I was still an amateur. And she's like, hey, we're going to bet. We're going to play for soda on this 9 holes. I'm thinking, I don't have any money. My dad always said, like, if you don't have any money, you better play hard. So I'm thinking I'm grinding for this 9 holes, and ends up that I got her by 1 after the 9 holes. And she goes to this cooler that's by the green on 9 and hands me a soda. I mean, like sodas were right there. I didn't need any money. So here I'm sweating bullets and I need to make sure that I win this match because I don't have $1 on me. But she always looked after me and always asked me to play as an amateur, and I'll never forget that as well.
Well, you mentioned the first year was tough, and but competitive golf is tough all the way through. So you got through that first year, but pro golf is a grind. I don't have to tell you. Was there ever a time that you hated competitive golf?
I don't know if I hated it. I hated how I played. I didn't understand how I got to the point that I got to. I mean, I went from, being number 1 amateur to a true struggle. All of a sudden my swing wasn't good enough. My teacher said my swing wasn't good enough. I mean, everything kind of blew up. I struggled with the equipment change they made. There were so many things that happened that I just really lost my confidence of being able to compete. But I didn't want to leave on those terms. I always felt like I wanted to leave when I wanted to leave, not because I was forced out of the game. And
Yeah.
so I really tried to grind it out, and really, I finally found a really great sports psychologist to work with me. And then eventually we got to a point, like, he asked me, he's like, "So what are you working on with your golf swing?" And I honestly couldn't answer him. I'm like, I don't know if I didn't know what I was working on, or that there was 20 things that I was working on, because I really didn't know what the answer was. And so I finally, I switched golf teachers again. And I don't know which number golf teacher that was at that point, and really got back on track. And that was kind of where my game turned around, everything turned around. And I had a little bit more vision of, or success, I should say, of the next, that happened in 2000 and 2001. So I played about 9 more years. So
Tell me about motherhood. I often wonder about this, and it's tough being a mother anywhere, but like with the traveling show that is the LPGA Tour, I'm not exactly sure how it works. I imagine it's very difficult. What was it like for you?
Well, it wasn't easy, but I will say this: we have childcare on tour, or the ability to use childcare, and they are amazing. They really work with us on our tee times. I mean, Jake, bless his heart, was sick, I think, his entire first year of life, and I was able to hire people out to help me so that I could play, because you couldn't take your kid to daycare if they were sick. So, you know. I think I wouldn't change it. I mean, I always say that, you kind of, wherever you're playing at when you have a child, is kind of where you're going to either return to, or a little bit lower. That's very rare that someone has a child and plays better than they've ever played before. Not saying that it can't happen, but I do think it was a really neat opportunity to have him travel with me, see a lot of the country. He had different friends, because his friends were um, from the daycare on tour. And I remember, one of the things that I mean, why I came back to golf, because we haven't gotten to this point, but I did eventually quit the game, and we came back, and I only came back because of my son, because he wanted to caddy for me in a tournament. And I thought, well, gosh, I mean, how can I not do that? How can I not? I mean, that's such a cool opportunity. And he can learn so much from, I'm not saying just me, but just the other people that are on tour, that he grew up with, and saw doing the same thing. So I did pick up my sticks after taking quite a long hiatus to play the senior LPGA championship for him to caddy.
Is there, I wonder if among the women that desire to have families, but maybe delay it because they're in their prime and they're playing, and maybe they're concerned about what's going to happen to my playing career. And then there's, for men, it's a lot easier, right? But women, there's the biological clock. Is it talked about among fellow competitors and friends?
Yeah, I mean, I know that when I was playing, I mean, we talked about it a lot. I think that you never feel like it's the right time. I'm not sure that anyone feels like it's the right time, no matter whether they're playing professional sport or doing something else career-wise. So I try to, I think sometimes we get lost in our own lives and think that we're the only ones dealing with it. And I think it's really across the board of women and families trying to make that right decision. For us, I kept waiting and waiting and waiting. And finally I was like, probably is the right time. I mean, now I'm in my 30s. And then, of course, you think that you can just get pregnant, and that just doesn't work out the way it's supposed to sometimes. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think life's about choices. And I feel very lucky that I was able to have a career professionally on tour, and also have a child. Did both things kind of affect each other, absolutely. But just to have that opportunity and for our tour to have a child care for us to use gives us a chance, which is really nice.
Vicki Goetz Ackerman is our guest here on Part T Time, My Golf Story, player president of the LPGA. Part T Drinks, title sponsor. If you're looking for a drink alternative on the golf course, try Part T. If you're looking for golf real estate, check out suncoastdreams.com. And if you need a day at the spa, go to Biload Spa in downtown Sarasota. So you mentioned your son, Jake, and you mentioned your husband, Jim. So that leads me to my next question. I love a good love story. What's your story with Jim? How did it all come together?
Well, if you ask him, he's going to tell you that I stalked him, and that's totally not correct. I'm just going to tell you.
That's exactly what he said. Okay, so your version.
Yeah, my version is that when I came to Florida, I actually was out at Bloomingdale Golfers Club at the time, and that was known for a lot of pros or aspiring pros to join there. And we always had a game. And Jim was one of the pros in the pro shop. He ran the tournaments there, and we all hung out together. There's probably a group of 30 of us, to be honest with you. And he came to me with his girlfriend problems. And I was great. I tried to help him. I tried to figure out a solution to make this relationship work for him. I didn't sabotage it or anything. And next thing you know, somehow, some way, he asked me out probably a month later, and I guess the rest is history, so to speak. But he's been, you'll probably have to razz him about this, but he has been amazing. I don't think being married to a professional golfer that travels the world is necessarily the easiest person to be married to. I was gone quite a bit, but he was always so supportive of my career. So I'm pretty fortunate about that.
Let's talk about caddies. What do you look for in a caddy? I'm sure you've had some good ones, some bad ones, but what do you want?
I think the biggest thing I wanted was someone that was in my corner, someone that had, done their homework, knew the golf course to the best of their abilities, and someone who wanted to be there. Like not all days are enjoyable out there. It's easy. It's easy when you're shooting under par to be on a high and to be into the game. But I think when you have someone that's got your back and still grinding and pushing you to be the best you can and do the best you can when you're not playing well is something that I always sought to have from a caddy. I think mistakes are made. It happens. Just as much as, I put a bad swing on it, someone could pick a bad club. And I think that understanding that does happen. I think I learned a lot as the years went by of what was important to me and what wasn't. But I will say there's one thing that, I did struggle with, and it's so stupid, but it was just, it was two things. My putter cover always had to be on my putter because I did not want that putter dinged, and the clubs had to be in their right home. Like there's a certain spot for them in the bag, and I did not like them.
That's not weird at all. I mean, there's a place for things. There's a purpose for things.
Yes, there's a place, and I always gave my caddy like here's your pocket. This is your pocket in the bag, so they didn't have to go digging in and find something that they didn't want to find in another pocket. Here's yours. You can have that one. So those are my things. But I had I had a lot of really great people that were on my bag and really good caddies. So and I'm sure I had a few that weren't so great either. But when you have that many, it's bound to happen.
Sometimes there's player caddy relationships. Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
You mean like, because they've been together such a long time, they have
no. I mean like husbands and wives, boyfriends and girlfriends, fathers and sons. Do you have a thought on that?
I think everybody's different. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. You just have to figure out what's best for you. Jim did caddy for me for just a little bit out there. And it was great. And he came in a pinch in times that I, either didn't have a caddy for a brief moment too. But we found for us, it worked and was right initially. But then it reached a point where when we came home, we weren't doing things together. And that wasn't, I didn't marry him to caddy for me, and he didn't marry me to caddy for me. I mean, like it was supposed to be more than that. So we made the choice to kind of, him have a different career path than that. But I've seen people that it works great. I think it's just, you really have to be careful because, I mean, I remember distinctly one story. I'm sure that there's more, and this probably isn't even the worst one, but we were really in contention at the British, and he kept telling me to relax. And if he told me once, he told me twice. I mean, 1,000 times. And I snapped my head around, and I'm like, I am trying to relax. And there may have been some extra words in there to really accentuate the relaxation that I was trying to show him. And I turned around, took a few more steps, and I go, I am so sorry. Here's your head back, but please never use that word the rest of the round. And we got in the house. I think it was top 5, but like, I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That's all I could say.
I had, so we host a Corn Ferry Tour event here at Lakewood National Golf Club, and the neighbors often put up players and caddies, and there was a father-son combo here, the Goodwins, Noah Goodwin, who that year, it was 2 years ago, he earned his PGA Tour card by merit, and his father was caddying for him. And over a couple of glasses of wine, I just said, how does this work? Is it a good thing? And he said, I'm trying to get fired from his son. And I loved him for his candor, for one. And then I talked to his son about it, and they both just said, there's a shelf life, and we maybe past the shelf life. And eventually Noah fired his dad and got a caddy, and things were great. But I loved hearing, like, what's it like, when you're that close with somebody.
It's hard. I mean, because every shot you're living together.
Yeah.
And, and the one thing I would say when Jim wasn't on the bag is that I could have some conversations about shots, and it wasn't quite as emotional because, he saw it from a different perspective. And I also think, I mean, if you have that person slightly removed from it, then, I mean, if I was being irrational, I'm just saying if I was, that someone could share that with me in a way that I could understand, versus if we're both in the heat of it, it's it can be pretty difficult. But there are combinations that do work. It's the right thing for some people. I don't encourage it. But I also understand the financials too for some people as well. So
that too. Yeah, that's a big part of it as well. So how's your game right now? How much are you playing?
Well, my game is not at its peak right now. I felt really, really good about it. I was excited about last summer. And, I played the Senior Open. And then, fall came, and LPGA job and teaching, pretty time consuming. Had this amazing lesson in December. I'm like psyched. Okay. But I have played all of 27 holes since August. So it is time to turn it around. But not quite time, because I'm leaving for China, then California, then Arizona, and then Vegas for the LPGA. So I've got a little bit of time to reflect on what I need to be doing, and then we'll put it in high gear and kind of go from there and try it again this summer.
Nice. Vicki, we're wrapping up here. Anything you need to promote? You want to shout out to anybody, any love, sponsors, or just anybody that
I would say I guess my biggest thing, well, obviously watch the LPGA Tour. please come watch us, see us. The players are absolutely amazing, and so gracious with their fans. And then I would say for anybody who is a parent that's watching and has kids, really make it fun. I mean, I think people thought that my life was hard and my dad was hard on Nick and I. And if he was, I have no recollection of it. I just remember playing golf because I love to play golf and I love to be with the family. And I tried to do that with our own son. And they're going to miss shots and they're going to make stupid mistakes. But we did it all too. So I just encourage you to make it great for your children. And it's such a great sport to do as a family and for later on. So love seeing all the new juniors that are coming up, and they're quite talented, but they're going to do great things in life, even if it's outside of golf.
They are talented, and God, they hit the ball so far. It's nuts. The game
really
is different, just how far they hit it. Vicki, really enjoyed the conversation. Safe travels to China and everywhere else you go. And got to come on back sometime. All right.
That's right. I love to get to meet you in person sometimes. So thanks for having me, Kevin.
Definitely. Vicki Goetz Ackerman, player president for the LPGA Tour, has been our guest here on Party Time. Big thanks to Party Drinks. If you're looking for a drink alternative on the golf course, try a Party. If you're tired from all of that golf, go to BioLit Spa and unwind with whatever, hot tub, cold water plunge, red light therapy, massage, all that good stuff. And if golf real estate is in your plans, nobody better than the golf real estate pros is suncoastdreams.com. Vince Fizzicaro, Gene Walsh, Samantha Walsh, and well, that's it. Those people. For Vicki Goetz Ackerman, I'm Kevin Walsh. We'll see you again next time on Party Time, My Golf Story.
Thank you.
You've been listening to It's Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers, and the golf real estate pros Gene Walsh and Vince Fizzicaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoastdreams.com or call 941-220-4000.